A giant boo just rang out among the fans that are here at the Stade de France. As you can see, the colour of the jerseys is mostly green in the stadium at the moment. The England game's just finished on the big screen, as you can see, and yeah, a big boo rang out as the ball was kicked into touch. Let's talk about that one then. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers, and England have just squeaked through against Samoa. Lots to talk about on that one, lots to talk about. So yeah, let me not waste any more time. Just leave your comments. What do you make of that England performance? Where does that leave us ahead of the knockout stages? What are your general thoughts and feelings? Mine, yeah, underwhelmed. I guess, like, okay, so isn't it great that there was a quote-unquote Tier 2 team who nearly pulled off an upset? We still haven't got an upset in this competition, but that's as close as we've come yet. And also, another, like, positive, England were involved in a game which was exciting and entertaining and would have had people sat on the edge of their seat watching. Lots, unfortunately, to talk about, but I think it would be really unfair just to moan about England. Don't worry, I'm going to do a bit of that, no question. But it would be really unfair just to moan about England, because that I want to focus first on the Samoa performance, which was exactly what we hoped and expected that we would have from Samoa ahead of the World Cup, when we knew about the changes to the World Rugby laws allowing players to return, guys like Stephen Luatua and Lima Sopawanga and Fritz Lee and all the rest of it. Seeing all these guys in their squad, you were thinking, wow, this is a serious team, and they haven't shown up in the World Cup. They were massively disappointing against Japan. I went to the game to watch them against Argentina. They were awful, and they actually turned up tonight and put it about and played with a fearlessness and with an attitude that is what we hoped they would have. And so well done to Samoa. They should be disappointed that they didn't show that in the previous games, because they could have been in a quarter-final. Thank goodness England did beat Argentina in that first game. My goodness me, because imagine, no words can describe how tense I would have been watching that last 10 minutes. At least we knew before the game England were going to be in a quarter-final. It didn't really matter, but it matters massively in terms of a springboard into the Fiji game. The narrative is totally different to where I hoped it would be now. England have got a lot of question marks and not a lot of answers, which is kind of where we've been for the last however many months. I did a video earlier talking about Wales and saying, think about where they've come from a year ago to where they are now. I guess all I can say is England have topped the pool. Like, I'm trying to grab some positives here. England have topped the pool, when before the World Cup I was genuinely worried, thinking England may not make the quarterfinals. So that is something. Much like with Wales, that's definitely something. And it actually started quite well, I thought. Samoa were clearly very much up for the game, but I actually thought England did all right to start with. There was some attacking shape coming in. There was a little bit of deception with some of the running lines, and George Ford on one occasion and Owen Farrell on another occasion put Manu Tuolangi through holes into space, and there was a good try as a result. We got the early Ben Earl signature celebration when there was a knock-on or a scrum penalty win or whatever it was. I kind of love that now. Let the memes commence on that one. And there were cheap turnovers being given away by both teams. Samoa and England were guilty of it, mainly England in fairness. But yeah, England actually weathered a bit of an early storm, scored a good try from Ollie Chesham, who, by the way, I don't know if you realised, the colour of England's socks in this game, like that real deep red, that was actually, they got the shade of that colour for the socks from Ollie Chesham's face when he's in a rugby match. Him galloping away down the touchline. I talked about it earlier with the Wales game. Isn't it interesting how get the ball to the wide areas, and it's amazing, there's space. Now all England needs to do is get the ball to the wide areas and give it to the fast people. They kept giving it to Jamie George on the wing and Ollie Chesham on the wing, but fair play, Chesham finished his try well. But yeah, that was actually quite a clinical finish. But then it unravelled from there. Not long after that, like 20 minutes, I was thinking, oh, this is okay. Samoa clearly had the bit between their teeth, and again, I don't want to take away from that. It would be very arrogant just to talk about Samoa about England not being good rather than Samoa being very good. They were a much better team, and the difference Lima Sopawanga makes to that side, if only they'd had him in the opening 3 pool games, you wonder what may have been. He's just gives them a shape and an identity, and also, I don't know. Oh, it's a shame. Lima Sopawanga's the guy who had the kicking tee stolen, isn't he? And he missed that kick, his first kick. So that could have won him the game. Now you look back at it now. Yeah, give Lima Sopawanga his kicking tee back. Yeah, England looked fired up, but I think my overall reaction to England is we obviously needed to go down to 14 men. That we would have played well if we'd done that. Someone needs to fall on their sword and sacrifice themselves, put in a high shot, punch someone, do something to get a red card, and then we would have been fine. As it is, we stayed at 15, and therefore we struggled. That's just what we do. You've got to say, for the Samoa tries, superb handling, exceptional attack, and what I really liked about watching Samoa is they were playing just kind of off of instinct. There was a lot of stuff that they did really well that I don't think they called it. They just played and reacted to what was going on, and that's the element of England's play that we're kind of lacking. Yes, you have to have your structures and your shape, and I'm about to go and watch Ireland and Scotland, and Ireland particularly have a lot of structure and that hive mind that I talk about. So you need that, but you need to have the instinctiveness just to, when you see something, go. And there were some real basic errors. Yeah, there was a Samoa try that was chalked off, wasn't it? Or was it? Yeah. I wasn't totally sure it was a knock-on, but then we'll get to tries being disallowed in a bit. I thought in terms of England players, sorry, the Ireland players are just out onto the pitch. No, Scotland, sorry. Well, let me show you. They're just out onto the pitch to just have a little look around on the pitch. So that clearly means there are some Scottish fans in at the moment, even though it looks very green. There's Scotland players just off the bus, just going for a walk on the middle of the pitch. So yeah, in terms of England's personnel, who do you think played particularly well or particularly poorly? There's very few in the former column. What has happened to Freddie Stewart? What has he got, like a holiday book next week and he doesn't want to play in the knockouts? I thought Freddie Stewart and Alex Mitchell were really poor. Yeah, really poor. And to start with, I thought the shape in the midfield looked okay, but that just kind of went away a little bit. Admittedly, Samoa were attacking the breakdown massively. I thought Alex Mitchell did not have a great game today. And moving into the second half, when I thought, right, they've had a bit of time to chat about it, they can sort things out, it was so pedestrian. There was one move where Maro Itoje got it as the first receiver and did the most telegraphed pass out the back to I think George Ford, who just went through the motions and wanged a pass that wasn't on, and it got intercepted. It was just so pedestrian. So pedestrian. So yeah, still a lot to work on with attack. And again, Samoa, fair play, they were good. The Ollie Chesham try that wasn't a try, propelling himself forward with his arms. What? Could we just talk generally? Because again, I talked about Samoa having a try chalked off that may or may not have been a try not given. And so I'm not talking about this from a partisan England point of view. I'm talking about it generally. And when I link it up with earlier, Lewis Rees-Sammet's second try should never have been a try because it was a forward pass. Last night, Italy should have had a try that was chalked off for a high tackle, which was never a high clear out or anything like that, in my humble opinion. I said that on the video yesterday. And now we had a perfectly good try from Ollie Chesham chalked off, propelling himself forward with his arms. His torso stayed completely still, and he reached out and placed the ball over the try line, which you're allowed to do. It's in the laws. Made me laugh that the TMO said, oh, let me show you that one more time, Andrew, but at full speed, and then continue to show a slow motion replay of Ollie Chesham scoring a perfectly good try. So on the one hand, I'm quite happy England won, so that's not an issue, but there's far bigger issues for them to deal with. If you leave it up to a referee and one decision, you haven't done your job, and England didn't do their job in lots of areas. But I am so worried about the quarterfinal, semi-final with regards to TMO decisions. I really hope it's not a factor. Samoa, oh my goodness me, Fritz Lee, breakdown menace. Theo McFarland against a load of his England teammates, Saracens teammates, was awesome. They were smashing everything, but they were knackered. After 60 minutes, they were goosed. And I was watching it thinking, just give it. England, just go. And they kept going to the line out more, which didn't work. Eventually, England sort of twigged, oh, there's spaces out wide, let's have a crack. But, yeah, just frustrating. As an England fan, partly as a rugby fan, because of all the TMO interventions and stuff, it was slightly frustrating. Partly, definitely as an England fan, very frustrating. George Martin dropping a ball in the line out. Ollie Chesham scooping the ball off the floor into touch. Like, you could have played a whole load of England's highlights to Benny Hill music, not least Owen Farrell running out of time. It's a good job he'd already, if that had been the points that was about to take him to England's all-time point scorer, and you've got, I'm going to doff my cap to Owen Farrell on that, England's all-time top point scorer. That is phenomenal. Just one thing though, it's quite interesting because I work on like the Premiership a lot in England, and when the shot clock thing was brought in, there was a clock in every single corner of the ground, but you could see on the last kick the conversion for the Danny Care try, the get out of jail free card try. Owen Farrell looked over his shoulder, clearly back at where the clock was. The clock was behind him. And I'm not making excuses. It's down to a fly half to deal with that. You do your preparation and you make sure you know that. But as there's a shot clock, there should be a shot clock like at both ends. And I'm actually looking around the Stade de France now. And just to demonstrate this, I don't believe there is actually, or I can't see one anyway. Let me show you. I can't see a shot clock anywhere obvious. I'm having a look. I don't think I can see one. So. But it's funny, Owen Farrell being the first person to come a cropper to that law. And fair play, Andrew Brace, for calling it. He was a second late, but then it was like England were having banter rules. Oh yeah, we're just going to be comedy of errors, Benny Hill music, and then straight after that, after all the TMO interventions, after all of the issues, after all the stoppages, then Andrew Brace calls a water break. A water break which was brought in 4 weeks ago when it was like 32 degrees. Why do you need a water break now, especially after all that? Oh man. I don't know where England go from here. Top of the pool, in a quarter-final, got Fiji. Got to do a lot better than that. And there's a lot of issues. I think it'll be predictable that the internet will be melting down about Ford, Farrell and stuff, but when have England looked better? I think there's serious questions to ask about the back three. Well, Freddie Stewart. Never thought I'd say this, but Freddie Stewart to me was the... I'll have to watch it again. I don't want to... But he looked, just on first watch, looked like the poorest of England's players. It's tough. There's a lot of options. There's more players contending for that than there were player of the match. That's for sure. But let me finish with a big well done to Samoa for a spirited effort. They'll feel they should have won, and I hope they're going away thinking they should have played like that in the previous 3 games, and imagine what a World Cup we'd be having then. Leave your comments. I'm sure there'll be lots. I'll come back with more in-depth thoughts in a bit. Thank you very much for your support on the channel. Really appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one.